Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the Fan. Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM WFAN.
From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on Francesa on the Fan on this Tuesday, the 12th day of December. As we head through this final week for me, I have a couple more shows here. Obviously, Thursday we'll do the show from the Paley Center on 52nd Street, the Museum of TV and Radio. We'll be there. That will be our day when we'll have a lot of people calling in the show, and just quick hits will be very numerous. Today, a couple of spots. One blast from the past who was extremely prominent during the years of my years of the Fan, and one Mike Piazza will join us at 3:05, calling from Italy, I believe. Is he in Italy? I think he is, right? Yes. So nice of him to do that. Brian Billick on his regular football, and that's we'll begin with the Yankees before we get to the Pats' loss last night. Again, I told you yesterday, the one spot you always have to watch the Pats when they go to Miami. Things happen to them when they go to Miami. It's amazing. That's been Brady's house of horrors through the years. It's amazing. Again, last night, another one. Now, again, if they beat the Steelers and run the table, they won't. That game didn't hurt them last night, but now they have to do that. So that'll be their charge. So I don't think that game really impacts them that dramatically last night. Let's get to the Yankees, who are doing what they had to do, and that is they're going to try and add pitching, and they're going to try and curtail some payroll. They did by sending Headley back to the Chargers, sent Mitchell with them, so they were able to send all of Headley's money back to the back to the Padres. I'm still thinking football. So back to the Padres. So Headley goes back. The Yanks are interested in Fulmer. They're also trying to deal off some outfielders. They'd love to be able to dump Ellsbury somewhere and get someone to take at least a portion. Is half too much to dream about of that $21 million. Is Gardner on the block? I'm sure he is in some circumstances. The Yankees are going to try and get the money down so that they can spend some money on pitching as they build and go forward there. Now, so Headley, who helped them, let's be honest, Headley helped them a lot when before Bird came back, when they moved him to first base, he hit 300. He got a lot of big hits for them. He actually did a very good job last year. He did a clutch job. He did a very good job last year, Headley, wherever you put him. And every time you buried him, he came up with some big hits. So he did a good job last year, and now he goes back to finish his career with the Padres. Very popular player with both Cashman and Girardi. But now they have some new people to work in, including Giancarlo Stanton, who you heard from yesterday. The Yankees were, front and center with Boone, with Cashman, with Stanton yesterday. And they are obviously looking to up their business very quickly, and they will. It'll be a very good move from that standpoint. A little tinkering to do on the roster with the economics, with some of the salaries, with their defense. You're going to have a new player at second. You obviously have to decide what to do with third. You have second to deal with. Torreyes is in the mix. They obviously have Gleyber Torres, who will get the first shot at second. And thereafter Fulmer, who, again, once he's arbitration eligible, we'll be looking at some big money. So again, they need money to spend on these pitchers if they're going to get the pitching up now, and that's what they will try to do. So the Yankees extremely, extremely aggressive and doing the things that you would expect they would do once they made the seismic move to bring Stanton into the fold and still try to make sure that they stay under the threshold to restart the tax. And that is the 1 year under the threshold would absolutely give them a enormous advantage in terms of overall salary going forward. It could be an astronomical savings to them from a standpoint of that. So that's where we are. So we have some football to do with Billick. We got some baseball to do with Piazza. We got all the Yankee stuff. Pats lose last night. We finished the season as far as New York football. It's going to finish in a very quiet way the next couple of weeks. Try and play spoiler, try to win a couple of games, maybe look at a couple of players, and that's pretty much what's left of what has been a very down New York football season. And again, it's not a thrilling season. You're missing a lot of players. You're missing a lot of stars. You're missing a bunch of quarterbacks. But We'll see what happens. Down the stretch, it's very even in the NFC. There's no one team that stands out. The Eagles obviously losing their quarterback, which was a terrible, terrible hit for them. Everybody's beatable. Anybody could get on a run. A lot of teams are in the mix, whether it's Carolina, Atlanta, Minnesota, the Rams, Seattle, you name it. And in the AFC, where there's really two teams, is this the year that the Steelers can get by the hated Pats? Well, you saw some things from the Pats you didn't love last night. You saw some things from the Steelers that you absolutely hated on Sunday. The Pats have had a lot of history in Miami of stubbing their toe there. And when they get pressure, when Tom gets pressure, it's a whole different ballgame, as you saw yesterday. You know, he does not look like the same player. It's amazing how much, and you know, it's funny, when people look at Eli recently and they're so critical, how did Tom Brady look when he's under pressure? How did he look last night when he couldn't complete a third down pass? How did that work out? How good did they look last night, the mighty Pats? How did they look last night when they couldn't, you know, when they got guys jumping routes and they got guys, you know, in their face? It's a different game it's a different game at quarterback when you're not standing back there just playing pitch and catch. But also remember, 1 week in the league means nothing. And what I would say is you will see this a lot this week. People will react to last night's game, and they'll be all over the Steelers this week. That's a dangerous thing because 1 week into the next means very little in this league. It's a reaction you got to be careful with. And the one thing you know, if you believe in certain things, Tom Brady has absolutely owned the Steelers completely. And you saw nothing from that Steelers defense that you liked last week. Absolutely nothing. It was pitiful against the Ravens. Their offense, listen, he threw for 500 yards, came back and won the game. Last 2 weeks, they came back and won games that looked like they were going to lose to the Bengals and to the Ravens. So we set up that big game come Sunday afternoon. You know, too bad it's not in prime time, but it's not. It's okay. It's still 4 o'clock. It's a good 4 o'clock game. Late December, 4 o'clock game, the Steelers in Pittsburgh against the Mighty Pats. What else could you ask for? It's the game of the year and obviously the game in the AFC. I want to thank everybody. I mean, I'm going to try and get to this mail. I mean, the mail's been coming in just unbelievable amounts. Do you know who I got a card from I couldn't believe? Someone who used to call us all the time and says she's been ill and hasn't been able to call. Judy from Brooklyn. Remember that Yankee fan? If you go back on this show a long time, Judy from Brooklyn used to call all the time. She loved the Yankees. And lo and behold, I get a card from the other day. I haven't heard from her in the longest time. And she said she had an accident, but she listens. She can't call. But I just wanted to send her my best. And so many times I've thought about Judy. We used to call all the time about her beloved Yankees and whatever was going on at the moment. And, you know, she had a great passion for the Yankees. And then we used to see her at events and all different times back in the days of Mike and the Mad Dog. And then she disappeared. And now I get a card. Unbelievable. I was shocked by that. And some of the stuff I've received, I've sent some of it back, you know, what I could to people. I've started to send it back, as many of those cards that I've gotten. So I'm trying to keep up as well I can. I appreciate all the sentiment and all the stuff I've received. I'll get to as much of it as I possibly can. My wife keeps bugging me to bring it home. She wants to keep a lot of it. She wants to do something with it because I've been showing it to her, some of the stuff I've been bringing home, and she's said, you got to bring it home. I want to see it. So it's amazing, really, what the reaction's been, and I thank you all very much for all the kind words and all the things that you've sent me in the mail and everything else the last weeks and months, but especially here in the final weeks, it's been just unbelievable. So we're counting down the shows. We have a couple left. Tomorrow we'll be here. I'm doing the NFL Network tomorrow morning at, I think, 8 o'clock. I believe 8 o'clock. Right, mine's 8 o'clock. Good Morning Football.
Yeah, you're on at 8.
I'm on at 8. Okay, so from a building that used to be my home, the CBS Broadcast Center on 57, that was where I spent many years working. I did the NFL Today there. I did studio shows there. I worked there on weekends. I worked there for many, many years. There in NCAA tournaments. So that's a home away from home for me. I was in that building for a long, long time, for many, many years. So kind of a homecoming going back to that building tomorrow. So I will be on Good Morning America, Good Morning America, Good Morning Football tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And then Thursday, we will have a Mons Promises Me. And I didn't want to know because I didn't ask anything about Thursday's show. So I let them surprise me. We got some guests coming to the Paley Center. We have 1 million people going to call in. And I'm just going to wait and say hello and welcome in the next person. And that's how we're going to do it. So I don't know who's coming, but a lot of people are. And Friday will be just myself in the studio. We'll have done everything that we had to do in terms of any interviews or anything else, anything extracurricular. It's all done. And then Friday it's just the callers and myself for one last show. And that will wrap things up on Friday afternoon. So couple, as we count them down, we got a good one today, and we'll get it all rolling right after this.